Hi, this is James Gordon of Victoria Library here with a book review. Today's book I'm reviewing today, Dead City by Joe McKinney. Alright, this is from Pinnacle, and this was originally first published in 2006. This edition is from 2010. This was a disappointing zombie novel. I was really hoping this would be a really good book, as I've been trying to find a really good zombie novel, and seems the only good one I read is the Resident Evil tie-in series. Something I'll do in the future, but this was just not a good zombie book at all. It gets off to a good start, but by the second and third act, it really starts to kind of fall apart, and it feels very rushed throughout the entire book. Like the entire time, it's like the author just held his foot on the accelerator and doesn't let go at any time, and could have really done so much more if he had eased off on the accelerator. Could have put some more scenes that would have made this book a lot better. Some more characters, some other things that I really did not like about this book, which I'll explain later in my review of the many issues I have with this book and things I did not like with it. The start of it is good. Like the beginning part is great. It's just the second and third part of the book is just when the whole thing just starts to fall apart. And I was really hoping this would be a good book. I actually thought this was just a solo novel until I discovered that Joe wrote 3 books, part of a Dead World series, and those have a higher rating than this one. And even this book has the first 5 chapters of the second book, and I'll give this like the second book a try, see if it's better than the first one. But yeah, after reading this first book, it was not that good at all. All right, on to the review. Plot: San Antonio officer Eddie Hudson is in the Seafarer and Rod parking lot with Officer Chris. 6 months ago, Eddie and his wife April have given birth to their first son, James Andrew. Things were going well for Eddie, but because of his job, Eddie isn't home since he's taking more shifts to help support his family. But this is causing problems with his wife, leading the two to argue with each other. However, that's far from the rest of his problems. Houston, Texas has been hit with a Category 5 hurricane which has caused flooding and a high death toll. The storm also has caused massive amounts of destruction, with FEMA and Red Cross being sent to help survivors as the storm continues to rage on. But oddly, it seems the survivors are attacking those who are trying to help them. While Eddie is listening to his wife arguing with him on his cell phone, Chris tells Eddie to a breaking news story on the radio. Eddie tunes in and hears reports of riots breaking out across Texas with lots of fighting, looting, rioting, along with cannibalism. Then both Eddie and Chris are called by dispatch about reports of fighting going on in the subdivision on the rougher side of San Antonio. Eddie calls in for backup as he and Chris drive off to stop the fighting. However, as they drive further down the near empty streets, Eddie feels something isn't right about this. He finds it strange as there's hardly any vehicles out on the streets, and all the houses seem to have their lights off as it's getting dark now. When Eddie and Chris reach the area they have been called to, as they get out on foot to investigate, they are shocked by what they see next. Coming out of the darkness are people, as they all appear to be injured, with their eyes milky white and covered in blood. Both Eddie and Chris yell with their guns drawn at the large crowd of people to stop moving with their hands up, but they don't respond. Eddie and Chris first try using pepper spray against them, but it doesn't work, then switch to their Mossberg 500 shotguns loaded with beanbag rounds. They fire all their shots at the people and still won't go down. Eddie and Chris are horrified by this, thinking they are high on some drugs or drunk. But Eddie then realizes these people are infected as they are zombies, and as one knocks Chris down and bites into his arm. Chris kicks the zombie off him and even breaks his knee, but it is still moving. Both officers draw their Glocks and fire at the zombies, but their bullets have no effect on them, till Eddie fires his last round into a zombie's head, blowing it to pieces as it drops to the ground. More zombies are appearing and backup is nowhere in sight. Eddie helps carry Chris into a squad car, but it's swarmed by zombies. Throwing the squad car into reverse and slamming his foot down, it lunges back, with Eddie trying to avoid hitting anything, with his partner is bleeding in the passenger seat. However, Eddie loses control and crashes into a mailbox, causing the airbags to go off, passing out in the crash. Eddie awakens as he's lying on the stretcher as paramedics have arrived along with backup. He's trying to explain to both officers and the paramedics what happened, and they're dealing with zombies, not druggies, but nobody is listening to him. As he's placed in the back of an ambulance and hearing Chris isn't doing too well, his mind is racing with so many thoughts until it suddenly hears the sound of gunfire outside. Eddie hops out to see more zombies are attacking both police officers, firefighters, and paramedics. Eddie watches in horror as the officers fire their Glocks and shotguns only to see the zombies moving closer towards them. An older yet highly skilled officer, Flores, manages to kill a few zombies with headshots till his gun is empty. He quickly whips out his baton and smashes their necks till he is swarmed by zombies. Eddie runs while watching helpless officers being bitten and killed by the zombies. As he's running past wrecked cars, one zombie grabs him as Eddie draws his Glock, presses it against the zombie's forehead, closes his eyes, then squeezes the trigger, wiping the blood off his face. He continues to run, knowing he's on his own. Unable to reach for help, Eddie is trying to think of what to do when he remembers his wife and son are still at home and they are in danger. Running through the backyard of a nearby houses as the streets are swarming with more zombies, Eddie can hear gunshots, yelling, and sirens all around him. Eddie tries looking for a car to reach home as he'll never get far on foot. It's now night with most of the subdivision obscured by darkness with only street and house lights on. While moving through a backyard, a zombie appears as it's riddled with bullet holes in its chest. Eddie draws out his Glock and shoots in the head and keeps on moving. When Eddie returns to his squad car, he finds an old damage and his cell phone is missing. Along with the other squad cars all wrecked up, houses are also badly damaged with broken doors and windows. Eddie is forced to continue on foot, but just as he leaves, he finds a wounded officer, Carlos, who has been bitten in the arm. Eddie helps carry him towards a school across the playground when they spot a zombie SWAT officer. He's armed with an AR-15 and tries shooting at them. Eddie is unable to bring himself to shoot him till Carlos kills them and yells at Eddie to kill these zombies, even if it's someone he knows or it's going to cost him his life. As Eddie is searching around the school for any survivors, Carl's condition is worsening as he vomits and coughs violently. Eddie finds 4 survivors inside the school, but only one of them speaks English. Working together, they are able to carry Carlos past a group of zombies in the hallway and get to a Ford F-350. Eddie and the older man with glasses, Ken Storer, run to the truck, get inside as Eddie runs over 3 zombies with the rest hopping in the back and floors it out of there. Eddie reaches a fire station as he, Ken, and the others get inside. Eddie finds a cell phone and is able to reach his wife. However, they only talk for a few seconds till the line goes dead. Eddie leaves the others at the fire station, telling them he's going to find his wife and son. They have supplies to last them a while and lease the Ford truck as he'll take the Chevy truck in the back. However, as Eddie goes to check on Carlos, his condition is getting worse. Knowing he isn't going to last much longer and turn into a zombie, Carlos asks Eddie for his gun so he can put himself out of his misery. It isn't long until Eddie hears the pistol go off and finds Carlos against the wall with his brains blown out. Eddie and Ken leave the fire station but run into more trouble, which forces Eddie to leave Ken behind as more zombies are appearing everywhere. Once Eddie reaches his neighborhood, he finds it in a total mess with wrecked cars, houses either on fire or badly damaged, corpses lying on the street, and zombies. Most of the people Eddie knew are now zombies. Upon reaching his house, April and his son Andrew are nowhere to be seen. After killing a few zombies that have entered, he finds his .45 pistol missing along with some ammo, and April's Nissan is also missing. Eddie believes his wife escaped with his son and are out there somewhere and must find them. Taking all the spare ammo and magazines with him, Eddie sets out to find his wife and son. Along the way, he bumps into Marcus, a wisecracking officer, as they struggle to survive the zombie outbreak in Texas. But Eddie won't rest until he finds April and his son Andrew. But first, Eddie must battle a never-ending nightmare of zombies as they're all hungry for his flesh. Dead City is a decent but not good zombie horror novel. While the beginning gets off to a good start, however, by the second and third act is very rushed and doesn't offer anything more else to make this novel any more interesting. What really disappointed me with Dead City was the lack of gun action, as the main character Eddie mostly uses a Glock throughout the novel and never has a different gun in his hand. You would think that a novel set in Texas would mean seeing more weapons being used against the zombies, but nope. I didn't get any of that. All I got was an officer going through his Glock and running over zombies and vehicles till they broke down, and would repeat the same thing over again. Not once does Eddie ever think of going to a gun store to stock up more ammo and firepower, or even get himself a bigger or armored vehicle to drive through the wrecked vehicles and zombies. Another problem I had with Dead City was the lacking of more characters. There is hardly anyone we get to know more other than Eddie. The rest of the characters you meet in this novel are either going to die or never see them again. The story is mostly told through Eddie, and only a few people team up with him but are not much use. Another problem was how long it took to figure out how to kill a zombie by shooting in the head, as police officers in the beginning waste all their ammo with chest shots. Again, it shouldn't take someone that long to know how to kill a zombie. Lastly, the pacing towards the middle and final act of the novel felt very rushed at times, and the wife and son that Eddie is trying badly to find suddenly appear out of nowhere really annoyed me. I felt so many scenes of Eddie exploring the ruins of San Antonio were missed, along with having other characters join to aid Eddie's quest while helping others out, along with going to the right places for supplies that would have made a huge difference, along with a better plot that could have been fleshed out in Dead City into a really good zombie horror novel. Even adding more to deal with, like escape criminals, would have been interesting too. And the ending has one of the dumbest things I ever read in a zombie story, of a law that states that both law enforcement and military forces can't kill zombies unless it's self-defense. Really, who the hell would pass a law like that? If a law like that was passed during a zombie outbreak, more lives would be lost than saved. Also, during my reading of Dead City, I was thinking there would be some zombie film references. Only one film was brought up, and it was George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, which only after it's brought up does Eddie and everyone else know how to kill zombies. Overall, I don't recommend Dead City, as it isn't a good zombie novel. It lacks so many things that I enjoy seeing in a George Romero zombie film, but Dead City doesn't have any of that. I'm sure you can find a better zombie novels than this one. And that's it for the review today, and yeah, this was a disappointing book. I really want to like this. Like, it got off to a really good start, but by the second and third act is when it all fell apart. I was really disappointed with this book. My one problem was I felt the author just kept throwing in zombies, and I was like, okay, you need to ease off and accelerate it here. Like find some other survivors and, like, team up and stuff, and or getting supplies. And this was the big shocker to me. The book is set in Texas, and as some reason, thinking, okay, there's gonna be a part where he goes to like a gun store and he gets like some serious firepower, him and some others, and they're able to like fight through the zombies. There's no scene of that, and I was like, come on, this is Texas, the state that loves its guns. Where are the guns? Like, come on. So there's none of that. The main character just using a pistol for the entire thing of the book. I thought, there's no way you would last this long. It'd be like using one weapon in a video game. You're not gonna get through the entire thing. Oh, and the characters that do aid Eddie throughout the novel, they're only useful for a bit until they are not, and then they're killed off by a zombie or they're never seen again. It was really annoying. And then the whole part where him trying to find his wife, I thought, is she like being held somewhere hostage by some criminals or something? Is she like trapped somewhere? This is never explained, and it doesn't. And one thing that the novel doesn't explain is like, why are the cell phones cutting in and out? Like, it doesn't explain that. And then when Eddie does find her, she says, "Oh, I went to some apartment and I just stood there for a bit until you called again." It was like, you couldn't say like earlier in the book where you were. Like, that would have made a huge difference if you said where you were, and then just saying, come find me, come find me. And then she's like, oh, and at the end of the book, she's like, please come home. It's like, okay, I'm coming home now. It's like, that's where you were this entire time? The main character goes back to his house twice, and first time is there's zombies in the house, which he kills them and then collects some ammo. And then the second time, there's more zombies, and the house is like even worse shape than it was before. And it's like, oh, I'm on my way home. I'm like, where the hell are you? Like, I did not like that at all. And yeah, the whole pacing of the book, it feels very rushed. Like the author just, as soon as the zombie outbreak happened, he just holds his foot down the accelerator and he doesn't ease off. I don't like when authors do this. Because they're in the rush, you're not gonna like it. If you just keep on going, you just want to keep on going with the story, and you won't be able to add anything if you don't ease off on the accelerator. So there's like so many opportunities I felt that were missed. There are some characters that the main character does interact with. Like, there's a news team that he bumps into, and this would have been interesting if they tagged along too, but they don't. And I just felt this book was like missing, like, needed more characters. Like, it just felt too focused on Eddie throughout the book, and not enough like other characters that could have aided in him in his quest to find his wife and May, helping others out during the zombie outbreak. And now it doesn't explain how the zombie outbreak started, and I kind of felt this storm has something to do with it. It's never explained, which is fine, but there are so many zombies everywhere. It was like, okay, I think there's a little like too many there's a part where Eddie and Marcus go to the police station to try to get see if there's any survivors there and get some supplies. All they find are zombies just filling the police station, and that part was just, I thought, was so badly done. It's like, how the hell does a police station? It's just filled with zombies. It's like it's like when I was reading this scene, it felt like there was like way too many, and I thought, well, it's like when you find a bug nest or something, and all these bugs just start swarming out like more than there should be. That's what it felt like. I was like, this is just not good at all, and the ending was kind of lame too. Like the whole law thing at the end, I thought, this is stupid. There's no way that a law like this would be passed. More lives would be lost if a zombie outbreak happened, and you're only allowed to kill a zombie is in self-defense. Like, that is stupid. That is just dumb. So, yeah, so I did not enjoy Dead City, and there are 3 other books in this Deadpool series, which the author continued in 2010. This book has the first 5 chapters, but I'd rather read the full book itself to see if it's better or not. So I'll check out the sequel to Dead City, but I'm hoping it's a lot better than this book because I did not enjoy it at all. I'm still hoping one day I'll find some good zombie fiction. I really am. Would like to find some good zombie fiction. Like, you would think after the success of George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, and then the Italian film Zombie, and then Return of the Living Dead series, along with like all those zombie movies, you would think there would be authors just writing zombie fiction, zombie books. There has to be. So I'm still gonna keep my eyes open for some good zombie books. All right, that's sort of the review today. Hope you enjoyed it. And for my next book, Battlefield Earth. This is the brick that I've been wait a minute, how am I going to say this? Yeah, so this is going to be a brick to get through, as it's very thick. I actually thought this was going to be the longest book I have read, but Stephen King's The Stand was the longest thing I read. So I'm gonna try to read 300 pages a day, which is the only way I'm gonna get through this massive brick. Because if I were to just do 100 pages a day, it would take way too long. So I've heard mixed things about this book. There's people who really like this book, and then there's people who absolutely hate this book. And I've been told that apparently this is a lot better than the terrible film of the same name. So when I go to read it, I'll see if those statements are true or not. All right. That's the review today. Hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group of the same name, a place to post and review fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.